husband loses his parent, right? You have both of your parents living, and you're fine. You have no idea how it feels to lose a parent. You have no idea. You know, and sure, you give them a hug. You say, "Oh, it'll get better. Oh, they were great people. Oh, you do all of the ceremonial type of things with your husband, but you don't. But you fail to actually sit with him and go through the loss, go through his pain with him. If you fail to do that as a wife or as a mate, there could possibly be some resentment. If you're doing the opposite, if you've said, "Oh, you'll feel better," time eases all pain, and then you go off and you're going to brunch with your girlfriends and you're doing, doing all kinds of extracurricular stuff, and your husband might start to have some resentment. He might start to feel like, "Gosh, you're not sharing any of this burden with me. You're my wife. I chose you. I thought you would be by my side through thick and thin, sickness and health. And here you are. I'm going through this season in my life where I've lost my mom or my dad, and you're off having brunch with your friends. You don't care about me." Those feelings of resentment will creep in. And it's usually at those times where we're in our deepest pain, where we are just feeling like we're rock bottom, where the enemy creeps in. The enemy comes in one ear, and says, "She don't care about you. Look, she's out with her friends. She's not thinking about you. You need to go find somebody that cares about you." The enemy will talk to you in your language. The enemy knows us better than we know ourselves, you guys. The enemy knows us better than we know ourselves. So he knows how to creep in. He knows what to say. He knows what to do. Thank you. Yes, please catch the replay. He knows what to say, what to do, all the sweet little things to whisper into your ear to get you to a place where you are vulnerable, and you are even more so after the death of your parent. And it's easier for you to make bad choices, right? So as a spouse, we have to recognize those periods when our mate is shouldering something that's very hard, that's heavy, that's causing, physical issues with the person and with our mate, and we need to come alongside them and grieve with them. We need to shoulder the burden with them. And it's not always, I think a lot of times when we think of shouldering a burden, we might think of it in a financial way. If your marriage is one where you have separate bank accounts, and your husband pays for his car note and you pay for your car note, and say maybe his car note gets behind 1 month and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I need money." I'm not talking about just that. I'm not talking about you just giving him a loan to pay his car note. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about on a deeper level. You need to shoulder the burden on a deeper level. We need to show compassion. We need to show love. And you can't do that if you're hopping off at lunch, at brunch with your girlfriends on Sunday. You can't do that if you're on the phone till 3 o'clock in the morning with God knows who. Those times when your spouse is in their deepest pain, we need to come alongside them and shoulder that pain. You're crying with them. You're up till 4 o'clock in the morning with them. You are available to them to whatever degree they need you to be in this moment, in this time of their life. That's shouldering the burden with them. That's sharing the burden with them. And as a wife, as a husband, that is your job. That is our job. As a husband and as a wife, it is our job to make sure that our spouse is not carrying the burden of whatever their burden is, that they're not carrying it alone. I think sometimes in marriage, we do feel alone. Yeah, we're married. Yeah, there's somebody that sleeps in the bed with us, but we do feel alone. And if our spouse isn't present enough, it doesn't know us well enough to see us to recognize those periods in our lives, then there's something wrong. There's something that's being missed. And so it's important that we stay connected, we stay in, with an open line of communication with our spouse so that we know when something's wrong. I don't know how many of you have kids, but I have 4. We have 4. And I know when something is wrong with my child. The reason that I know is because I talk to my kids. I mean, they're young, yes, but I know when when they have a certain look on their face and it's not normal, or when maybe one of their friends decided they're not friends with them anymore at school. I know when there's something that's bothering them. And just as I know that with my kids, just as we know those things with our kids, or maybe our siblings or our parents, we need to have that very deep connection with our spouses. There is no other way to shoulder an emotional burden if you can't recognize that one exists, and we can't always rely on our spouses to just open up and walk in, come to the breakfast table and say, hey, I'm dealing with issue XYZ this morning. I need you to shoulder the burden with me. It doesn't work like that. We need to know our spouses enough to be able to recognize whether it's a way that they're walking, a way that they're sitting, the short responses that they give you. We have to be able to identify those different triggers, or there's different changes in our spouse's behavior. So that's why, I say it's so important that we have to, sometimes communicating with our spouse is like pulling teeth. But I find that when our spouses are ready, as long as they know that we're open to listening and we won't attack them, when they have something that they want to talk about, I find that as long as when they come to a point where they're ready to talk about it, that they will. Men are hard at times, and so are women, you guys. So we are hard too. We like to say that women are great communicators, but I was just gonna say, Decadent Noob says we feel attacked sometimes, right? But so we women like to say we communicate, and I always let you know that you can talk to me. But just look at that. If I were to walk up to you guys, men out there, whoever, and say, you can talk to me, right? You don't just don't go pick up the phone calling your brother or your dad, and I'm here, you can talk to me. Why don't you talk to me? Why don't you talk to me? I mean, how is that? And I'm supposed to expect you to say, oh yeah, that's warm and friendly and welcoming. Yeah, let's sit down and have a cup of coffee and talk. No, like we have a tendency to tell people to talk to us instead of inviting people to talk to us. We tell them, yeah, talk to me. You need to tell me this. You need to tell me that. You need to tell me what's going on at work. You need to tell me who's bothering me. Bothering you. Tell me this. Tell me that. But we don't invite our spouses to talk to us. We demand them, and then we wonder why we don't know half of the stuff that's going on in their lives. We talked about this in a scope before about making sure that we're not treating our spouses like they're a child of ours. Talking at them, yelling at them, making demands of them. We need to come alongside them. They're our partners. They're our friends. They didn't marry their mother. They didn't marry their father. They married someone that it was a friend to them, that they could confide in. So it's just, we need to make sure that we're making things easy for them. Guilty. I just be wanting to wanting to ease the situation sometimes. Yeah. And you know what? I think, at least I know if I'm not ready to talk about something, I'm not going to talk about it. And I'm going to step out on a ledge and say that's true for all of us. If we're not ready to talk about something, it is going to be like pulling teeth, trying to get information out of us. It is. Because you already have this feeling inside like that you don't want to talk about it. And then you have this extra person over here talking about tell me. You don't feel like talking about it. And when you're ready to talk about it, then you're ready and you'll talk about it. So getting back to the point, we need to make sure that we as spouse are doing our jobs by being compassionate, being present, noticing the signs of, a husband or a wife that is overburdened, So we just want to make sure that we are sharing those burdens, just like we would expect them to come alongside us and, give us a helping hand and give us a shoulder to cry on. We expect the same. We need to be the same for them. It's our job. We didn't our husbands, our spouses didn't marry us because they wanted, thinking that we were just going to be someone to sleep in the bed with them. There is more. There's more required of us as spouses that we need to do. We have roles to fulfill. And when we're not doing that, when we're not meeting those expectations of marriage, then we're allowing, the enemy and just different things to creep into our marriage, which, as we know, can lead to failure. So I mean, that's all I wanted to share with you today, you guys, is just the importance of sharing the burden in marriage and being compassionate and making sure that you're not you're not ignoring the signs of burden, and making sure that you're available, making sure that you are being compassionate and showing empathy and all of those things, and being loving, right? So that's it for today, you guys. Thanks for joining me. I know we got started a little bit late. But again, thank you for joining. Thank you for all the hearts, you guys. I really, really appreciate it. It makes me feel like I'm doing a little bit of something. If you're catching me on replay, hearts count too, so feel free to share them. I will be back tomorrow around about the same time, and we'll be talking about some more topics on marriage. All right? So thanks so much, you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.